If you'd like to give us a call to be on the hotline today, America's favorite noontime talk show. Anything new politically on all this stuff in Albany with the Senate? Who's in control down there? And Pedro Espada and the guy who whacked his girlfriend in the face with a wine glass, and all those other people down there. It's just quite a crew there. But Republicans are, I guess, back in charge. I think what's going to happen, here's my prediction. I don't know about this Espada and Montserrat, whether they can hold on next year and be, quote, rebel Democrats and win re-election. As you see, what is happening here is the Democratic caucus, well, they technically had 32 senators. They weren't really a firm 32 because many of them were elected out of these New York City districts in which just by being the Democratic candidate you win. And so these people didn't feel any allegiance to the majority leader or anybody else. And they just knew that, it'd be tough for the Republicans were never going to knock them off. So as long as they maintained their Democratic line in the primary, they'd be all right. And they got assurances from Tom Golisano that he would help fund their primary battles next year. So, hey, they're all set, or so they think. It'd be tough for the Democrats to get rid of them. But I think the Democrats will end up getting an additional seat. And my prediction is, before this 2-year period is over, I do think Darrell Aubertine will probably get elected congressman. I think he will do it with the minor party lines because I think official Republicans in Albany are more interested in winning this Senate seat than they are the congressional seat. I think they'll give up the House seat. They'll let Aubertine win it. He can win it on his own, obviously, but they can make it a little easier for him. And then in turn, of course, there'll be a special election to fill Aubertine's Senate seat, and I think we will end up with Assemblyman Will Barkley running there. That will be the Republican choice, and I think that deal is pretty much cut. So that's my prediction of what's going to happen. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But if you have any thoughts on it, give us a hoot and a holler at 755-1240. Now, of course, if Aubertine runs and loses for Congress, he's still a senator, in which case the second part of the equation doesn't happen, and then that fight may occur in 2010. But we'll just have to see. I have to think the Republican nominee will be this Matt Doheny, the mystery millionaire living with the house over on Paddock Street. Local media is still sort of staying away from that story. I mean, the guy spent $250,000 so far on his campaign, but they just said, well, we don't want to disturb him. We're waiting for the press release. But it looks like he'll be the Republican candidate. And I don't know. Maybe he'll spend enough to win. People say, I heard good things about him. I was talking to Phil Reed about him, the county legislator from up in the Alex Bay area. Says he knew the guy when he grew up in that area earlier. So who knows? I mean, there's nothing certain in politics. There's no certainty that either candidate would win the district. But I would have to say that the Republican game plan would be more centered on winning that Senate seat through a special election than it is the House seat. Now, on a national level, national Republicans obviously want to win the House seat, the Michael Steele crowd and all of that. So we're going to wait and see what happens and just kind of go from there. It's politics at its best. It's going to be exciting, and it's also going to be a lot of money. Now, Glenn was telling me that Channel 7 plans to make between $800,000 and $1 million off this congressional campaign this year. This is a godsend for local media. Even little radio stations like this will make something. But the TV stations, Time Warner, Channel 7, Channel 50, they're going to make a lot of money off it because it's going to be a lot more money than was spent on the special elections for Senate. So we're just going to see what happens and go from there. But it's going to be an interesting summer if you're into the whole political scene. 755-1240, our phone number if you'd like to give us a call to be on the show today. Now, what's going on? I'm just trying to see if there's some other headlines that might be of interest here. If you're a reader of the internet, you do want to keep and you want to keep up on what is going on politically. One of the sources, not the only one, I think you should read a lot of sources. I'm big on that. Read Liz Benjamin's, read Political IV, read the Democrats one, read Daily Kos if you want. Read them all. But you should always read the blog I write on local politics. That's www.mayorgraham.blogspot.com. It's reachable through Newzjunky, and it really is hopefully gives you some insight on some of the more offbeat issues that we face up here. For instance, we broke the story last night on the action by Harley-Davidson to demand removal of that controversial signage. I mean, it's not a big story, but it's something. Broke the story about Bobby Ferris running for county legislature. And broken a few other stories as well. Not that we get it first all the time, but we get it first enough of the time that hopefully it's worth checking out yours truly's blog. All right. And I always used to poo-poo Ted Ford when he was a blogger. I said, Ted, you're just like crazy or something. But you know, you get into it, and it's like owning your own newspaper. It's like you're a big-time publisher. And maybe nobody reads it, but we've had big success. I know we've had over 400 people vote just this week in our poll, because it allows you to do a poll every week on the blog. And over 400 people have cast ballots so far, which is, when Ted used to do those polls, if he got 15 people in a week, it was something. But we're just getting huge numbers. So it is kind of exciting. It's a big success. And I thank all of you who've been reading it so far. All right, well, we're probably getting to the point where I think I'll go break into the high school and paint some stuff all over the place and see if Steve Duffany calls the show Monday and says, well, it's just a prank. Just a prank. Yeah, sure. Anyway, I wouldn't do it, of course. 755-1240 is the number to call when you call in later today on the Live at 5 show with Glenn Curry. Hope you'll do that. It's a great show. You don't want to miss it. And, of course, in between, we've got, you got Sean Hannity, and you've got Clark Howard coming up next with some consumer news.